I personally always play ball with Levi. Cody always plays ball with Nolan. And then we have Sonia, who is upset if she doesn't get two buddies. There will be special requests on the field, like, no, you're my buddy. And then sometimes they get in arguments. And Miracle League is a baseball league for people with special needs. Our role is to go down there and be their buddy. Whatever they need, help getting around the bases because they're in a wheelchair, assistance hitting the ball, throwing the ball. It's our job to make sure that nobody gets hurt. Everybody there is just having a good time. Both teams are rooting for each other. You know, there's really no competition. There's no outs. Everybody's just there to have fun. It's just a really neat program to be a part of. 6 o'clock is game time. They'll do a national anthem. We buddy up with our players. Sometimes you have no choice in the matter. They come up to you and like, you are my buddy.
You want to be my
Absolutely.
buddy? Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're with them the whole time. So he hits the ball, you're running with him to the first, second, third. It's all about getting out into the community that we serve. We will run into some of the players at the grocery store, on medical aids. You know, they'll instantly, we'll recognize each other and talk about, when the next season is coming out. You know, a lot of our players obviously have some medical issues, and we've gone to their houses on medical aids to already have the relationship. You know, we already know each other. The parents already know us. It is a lot different than just going into someone's house that you don't know.
I grew up in this area, and there were not programs that made kids with disabilities feel normal. So this is like a normal thing. This is baseball. We started in May of 2013. Fire and EMS and police guys are heroes. For our players to have the fire department come out and help them and be their best friend for a night, that's huge.
It's so beautiful being able to see like the parents come together and being able to hang out and communicate with each other. Being able to see the joy on the faces. There's literally never a bad day when I come to Miracle League.
We've had the opportunity to invest the town resources into Bremfield. They're used to the field. There's a lot of comfort that comes from that. Yeah, it's been a real blessing to us in the community, and you can see the participation here. You know, the bleachers are full every night. That's the thing I dig about
Throw
it.
it to Nolan. Throw it to Nolan. Nolan, throw it in.
Closely by Andrea.
Thanks, bud.
He hasn't said many of his one-liners. He's famous for saying, like, if somebody's like really swinging at it, he'll be like,
He's chopping broccoli. He's chopping broccoli.
I'm definitely invested in this community. It feels like home. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love it. All right, dude.
What's in there?
We brought gifts.
Oh!
Right?
Finally a hat.
Finally, right? I'm Zach Taylor, the captain with San Bernardino County Fire Department here in Yucca Valley, and I'm proud to serve you.
Good job.
target for cyber attacks. But the same AI-powered security that protects all of Google also defends these services for everyone.
Joshua Tree, I'm gonna do sound check. Give me 1 second. Let me bring you into the room. Can we hear you? Check.
Can you hear me?
Yep, perfectly fine. Thank you.
All right.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid being made in somebody's garage or their home, not controlled. It's 50 times more powerful than heroin and 100 times more powerful than morphine.
Stop the Void is a California nonprofit corporation dedicated to educating and raising awareness in our communities about the scourge of fentanyl. We started this organization because I lost my own son, Daniel Huerta, who was only 16 and a half years old when he passed away due to fentanyl poisoning. Due to the stigma of addiction and overdose, most parents feel that this could never happen to them. And I'm truly sorry, but it can.
San Bernardino County started with the Fentanyl Doesn't Care, But We Do campaign. Fentanyl doesn't care if you're a mother, a father, a son, a daughter, a coworker, a friend. It just doesn't care. But we do in the county of San Bernardino, and that's why we created this campaign to bring awareness to the community.
San Bernardino County and Stop the Void have partnered together. Come to San Bernardino County website, Department of Behavioral Health, look at all the resources that they have, and make sure that you speak to your children. Numbers just came out for 2022, and it's north of 109,800 drug deaths in the United States. Roughly 77% of all of those drug deaths were due to fentanyl. This is why this message and this campaign is so, so important. If you think that it can't happen to you, think twice.
San Bernardino County's Land Use Services has now made it even easier for you to schedule your on-site, virtual, and self-inspections. It's called Easy Inspect, and it's a new mobile app available on the App Store and Google Play. Built with both contractors and homeowners in mind, Easy Inspect is an easy-to-use tool for viewing all of your eligible inspections right from your phone. You can schedule one or multiple inspections at your fingertips. For any additional help using Easy Inspect, visit easyinspect.sbcounty.gov or call 800-637-6655.
The way you sort your trash may be changing. Did you know organic waste that ends up in California's landfills makes up 20% of the state's methane gas emissions? Organic waste includes items such as food waste, like leftovers, bones, shells, peels, and pits. Food-soiled paper products such as paper towels, napkins, and pizza boxes. And yard waste such as grass clippings, leaves, and twigs. That's why jurisdictions throughout California, including the unincorporated areas of San Bernardino County, are now required to implement Senate Bill 1383, the new statewide plan to reduce methane gas emissions. If you live or work in an unincorporated area of San Bernardino County, you may be required to subscribe to waste, recycling, and organic recycling services in 2023. The county is dedicated to keeping residents and businesses of the unincorporated areas informed about this new state law and how it affects our communities before any changes take place.
Hey, hello. Can you hear me?
Perfect. I can hear you just fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Code enforcement's mission is to ensure compliance with county codes and state laws, to create safe, attractive communities that improve the quality of life of residents.
County Code Enforcement has several special programs: illegal dumping, community cleanup, graffiti abatement, fire hazard abatement, off-highway vehicle enforcement, cannabis enforcement, and of course our traditional code enforcement program.
Code enforcement benefits residents through our goal of leaving people better than we found them, by leaving them safer because we have addressed unpermitted construction that could affect the occupants, or by improving blighted conditions that affect not only the occupants, but the community.
My role in code enforcement is to ensure that residents of San Bernardino County are following the rules and the ordinances, talking with the public more one-on-one, helping them learn the ordinances, but also talking to them as though we're neighbors, because we need to make sure that San Bernardino County is a good place to live, a good place to work, and be a beautiful place for the residents.
Our code enforcement team continues to grow. We're working on some initiatives that are going to expand services and create new programs that will help our county residents.
I'm very pleased with them always. I've dealt with them for a good 30 years now. There's reasons for the code enforcement, and we want our city safe, and you can see when you don't have the codes what you get.
I became homeless back in 2008. I lost my sister. Then I lost my mom. I went under depression. I was really sick. I couldn't walk.
Sarah, we met in late 2019. She was living in front of businesses along the street. We gave her some information and linked her with a post team and inroads for temporary transitional housing motel assistance.
So I think it's important collaborating with all the departments involved, because sometimes there's a situation where we'll have to gather together and just think outside the box how we could help that person out.
Inroad stands for Innovative Remote On-Site Assistance Delivery Service. From the time that I just recently had met her on the streets to today, she's so much happier, healthier, and is working towards getting her own apartment now.
We go to where the client is and taking the resources directly to them, and it helps build that bridge for success.
I don't want to be homeless anymore, and I thank the county staff and team that helped me through this. Thank you guys, and God bless you.
ARMC just received level 1 trauma center verification by the American College of Surgeons.
It means that all of these services at the hospital are able to work together in a timely fashion to take a patient from the doorway to the definitive care place. We were level 2 prior to this. By achieving level 1 status, we've become a center that doesn't have to transfer any patients out to provide life-saving care.
It is well known as the county hospital that serves the Inland Empire region with high quality medical care, but also a great place to train future physicians and future nurses.
We developed a program, actually just a partnership with our local hospitals to go out and teach them about trauma. It's a phone call, and then we'll set a classroom for their physicians and ER nurses, and we're more than happy to go and provide this education, because our goal is to provide optimal care for all of our patients, not only in our hospital, but in the outside hospitals as well.
So I think having education in addition to being able to deliver high quality care, that's what I think makes this hospital a very special place.
San Bernardino County has always been the biggest, and once again, we're the best. Under the Board of Supervisors' visionary leadership, we earned an incredible 160 achievement awards from the National Association of Counties in 2023, winning more than any other county for the second year in a row. There are more than 3,000 counties in the United States, and San Bernardino County continues to stand above them all in terms of accolades for innovation, efficiency, and public service. This year, we were honored for streamlining staff training for our homeless point-in-time count, hosting 32 animal adoption events leading to more than 1,600 pet adoptions, making building inspections easier, keeping residents well-informed and safe following the El Dorado flood, teaching children the importance of good oral health, providing reentry support to vulnerable clients following incarceration, enabling local job seekers to succeed in their careers, increasing access to healthy foods for county residents, unveiling our Curtain of Courage Memorial. And this is just a sample of the 160 national awards that San Bernardino County earned for the services we provide to our residents and visitors. Thank you to our county employees for making this recognition possible.
Ready? Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd also like to acknowledge the High Desert and Joshua Tree video conferencing sites, and thank you for joining us. I would also like to thank the grand jury members for attending with us today. Thank you for your service to San Bernardino County. Our invocation today will be presented by 2nd District.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to introduce
Father Ben, who is the pastor of Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Rancho Cucamonga, which is one of the largest Catholic churches in our region. So he serves in the Diocese of San Bernardino, is passionate about his faith and his love for God. Compassion for all of God's children. His motto at the parish is Sacred Heart, one family, Sacred Heart. And with that being said, Pastor Ben, come up.
Good morning, revered board of supervisors here in the Inland Empire. I'm so delighted to be invited to lead in the invocation of this beautiful and important meeting. That we appreciate your great work here in the Inland Empire. And I'm here to ask God to bless you more abundantly as you continue this great work you are doing. Thank you. We begin our invocation by calling upon the name of our gracious God, singing a song. Do something new in our lives, something new in our lives. Do something wonderful in our lives. Oh Lord, something beautiful in San Bernardino, something great in our county. Do something wonderful in our land, oh Lord. Visit the sick in our hospitals. Take care of the poor in our regions. May you multiply your blessings upon us. Do something wonderful in our lives, something great in San Bernardino. Do something beautiful in our lives, oh Lord. Everlasting Father, you are the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning, the end. We humbly come to begin our meeting as the servants of this civil society. And ultimately, we are your servants. And Jesus indicated in Matthew 22:21, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God. Lord, this county belongs to you. Caesar represents the state, represent our county, represent the civil society, and even him, the state and the locality where we walk belongs to you. Therefore, we ask for your mercy and for your love. Come and take your rightful place in our schools and colleges. Come and take your rightful place in our cities and communities. Without you, we can do nothing. Therefore, we ask for your blessings as we navigate life and well-being in this part of the world. Protect our communities. Bless our institutions. Transform the lives of our youth and young adults. Take care of our sick brothers and sisters. Heal our land. Fortify our economy. Banish our fears. Increase our love for you and for one another. Give to the board of supervisors the wisdom you gave to Solomon, the sagacity you gave to Daniel. May the blessings of Abraham be theirs. May the docility of Moses be theirs. Save this nation from the rumors of wars and strife. May peace reign in the Middle East. May the respect for human life guide the decisions of those in the White House. Prosper the works of our hands in the Inland Empire as we strive to serve you to the poor and the marginalized. Redeem your people, Lord. Have mercy on us. And may the rest of this year be marked with peace and joy. Finally, we ask you dear Lord, to cover the whole of our San Bernardino County with the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Cover the whole of our cities and communities with the mantle of the Blessed Virgin Mary, Our Lady of Guadalupe. And cover this country, the United States of America, with the wings of the angels. May the Lord bless you and bless this land and bless all people. In the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Having said yes to God, may we now say yes to our nation, the United States of America, looking at the flag and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, invisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We will now move on to our memorial adjournments. Supervisor Baca.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I do have one adjourned memory. It's William Bill Harrison of San Bernardino. He was 82 years of age, and Bill was married to Martha Macias Harrison, and they were longtime residents of San Bernardino, but one of the things that was very important for them is they were very active in the community. And one of the things they owned, and they just recently sold not too long ago, was the Inland Empire Community Newspaper. So they were known in this community for covering events locally here between the Colton Courier, the Rialto Record, the El Chicano, and the Inland Empire Community Newspaper. So I just want to thank them for their service, and our heart and prayers go out to the Harrison family, and we'll keep Ms. Macias in our prayers. She's a member of the Community College School Board, and we'll keep their families in our prayers. Thank you so much, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Hagman. Supervisor Armendariz.
Yes, I do have one to speak of. With a heavy heart, it comes to my learning that the former Rancho Cucamonga mayor had passed away, Don Kurth. Many knew him as Dr. Kurth. He was a member of the community in Rancho Cucamonga who was such a well-rounded man who had a passion for helping people. He began his medical career as an orthopedic surgeon in 1979 and continued on to become the medical director of Loma Linda University for the Behavioral Health Center. Then he started his public service in 2002 as a Rancho City City Council member and ended by being the mayor from 2006 to 2011. Dr. Kurth was dedicated to the betterment of Rancho Cucamonga and was pivotal in the improvements that the city has as a whole. May he rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you. We do not have any special presentations today, so we will move on to our reports from County Council. Tom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are no reportable items from closed session.
Thank you. And our report from our CEO, Luther.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Nothing to report.
All right, that brings us to our individual board comments. Supervisor Baca.
Hey, thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to thank the San Bernardino County Public Defenders for the great Halloween event they did. They did a trunk or treat. I think the most important thing is they really focused on our foster youth and at-risk youth, and I think it was a great activity they did for our foster youth in our community. I also want to point out our office hosted a college and career readiness, actually in these chambers here. We had over 200 students, high school students from Colton Joint Unified, Rialto Unified, San Bernardino City Unified, and our county schools. I think a couple things to point out. I think one of the things that was great about it is that it really opened our government center up to the community, and just to reemphasize, this is the public's boardroom, and I think that was important for our kids in our community to see this boardroom and be able to participate in college career readiness. But also, we had great partners in our event. We had Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, which exposed our kids to the medical field, San Bernardino County Fire, which was part of it, San Bernardino County Sheriff, San Bernardino County Probation, and the workforce development, along with many other private contractors and businesses that were here. But I think the most important thing as we look at the future of our county, we have to encourage our students and let them know that government is a place that they can work with over 24,000 employees here. But I thought it was a good way because a lot of these kids never even thought about working for the county. I think it was a great job, and just want to thank all the county partners. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Hagman.
Thank you.
Just want to announce that we're going to have our annual Veterans Claims event on November 8th at the district office. And the veteran staff will be there to answer questions about existing claims, conduct benefit assessment interviews, complete claim forms and paperwork, issue San Bernardino County military veteran ID cards. And it'll be held between 10 and 2. It's always well intended. We encourage our veterans to come on out if they need some help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Armendariz.
Yeah, the only thing I want to just remind everyone, as Halloween approaches, to be cognizant of children that will be walking and to just have a safe Halloween. There's a lot of activities out there. There's a lot of truck and treats. Take advantage of those, and wish everybody a happy Halloween.
Thank you very much. So I would like to highlight a few items that we have on our agenda today. Item number 28 is our contract with the town of Yucca Valley, and the town provides a lot of regional services to both incorporated and unincorporated residents. And this one is for our senior center. It will work on rehabilitating the senior center that serves our seniors from all over the Morongo Basin. They will serve meals, fitness classes, recreational activities, and so this is a rehabilitation project for that. Item number 29 is a contract with the Crest Forest Senior Citizens Club. They will be able to provide senior nutritional lunch programs with the funds that we are able to pass them. And they have been doing this for the past 17 years. So we thank them for providing health and nutritional needs to our residents up on the mountain. And finally, item 73, I thought this was fantastic. So the estate of Jacobus Jim Touring donated through his will to the Big Bear Alpine Zoo. It is an amount of $48,000 that he left to the zoo. And we are sad that he is no longer with us, but excited to receive the generous donation. So that is it for my comments today. Linda, that brings us to the presentation of the agenda. Do we have any additions or revisions to today's agenda?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. Item number 30, recommendation number 1 is revised to read as follows. Adopt resolution approving amendment number 1 to the Memorandum of Understanding, agreement number 12-263 between Santa Margarita Water District, Cadiz Incorporated, Fenner Gap Mutual Water Company, and San Bernardino County related to the Cadiz Valley Groundwater Conservation, Recovery, and Storage Project, amending the designee eligible for county reserved water from the Inland Empire Utilities Agency to any public water service provider in the Mojave watershed region. The remainder remains unchanged. Item number 32, recommendation number 1 is revised to read, approve grant application to the California Office of Emergency Services in the amount of $759,656 with a required match of $189,914 for a total of $949,570. The remainder has remained unchanged. And item number 91 on the discussion calendar will be taken off calendar when we come up to that at that time.
Thank you very much. If a board member has a conflict of interest that they wish to disclose at the time, can you please do so now of any item on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to our consent calendar. And before we move into public comment, I just really wanted to address something. We have seen something recently in the city of San Bernardino, as well as across the state and elsewhere, where our residents have been subjected to racial comments and hateful speech. I just wanted to let everybody know here, we've always had a lot of respect and decorum in this chamber, and that we as a board would not tolerate any type of racial hate or speech from our public comment opportunities. And it really just is an opportunity that's meant to address any concerns that you have on the decision-making process here in the process of government. And it is not a platform for any type of racial comment. So to the city of San Bernardino, we feel you and what you're going through, but I thank all of those of you that are here that have been so respectful during our public comments. Our consent calendar today consists of items 2 through 89. I do have a number of public comments. I'm going to start out in Joshua Tree with Chris Clark, who will be followed by Lucas Basolto.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Chris Clark. I am the Associate Director of the California Desert Program for the National Parks Conservation Association. My comments, as you all know well, consent calendars are intended as an efficiency measure, allowing elected bodies to vote on groups of routine, straightforward, and non-controversial issues in an expedient manner. The Cadiz MOU on your consent calendar today is neither routine, straightforward, nor non-controversial. For the last quarter century, the Cadiz water mining proposal has been one of the most intensely controversial environmental issues facing not just the county, but the state of California. Cadiz has generated opposition by the environmental community throughout the county and state, and tribal governments and communities in the deserts are also opposed and very concerned. Peer-reviewed science has established that Cadiz's estimates of recharge to the aquifer it would tap are wildly inflated, and that the project poses an existential threat to desert springs and seeps in Mojave Trails National Monument. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife also considers Cadiz to be a significant threat to desert bighorn, a fully protected species. That's a lot of controversy for an item on a consent calendar. And that's without even mentioning the issue of carcinogenic chromium-6 in the water Cadiz would provide, or the fact that state law prohibits exportation of water from the desert unless it's first proven the export would have zero impact to the desert. The Cadiz item, in short, is far too controversial to be addressed via a consent calendar vote. It also came without any prior engagement with constituencies in the county that have significant concerns and want their voices heard. The National Parks Conservation Association respectfully urges supervisors to remove the Cadiz MOU from the consent calendar and to agendize it for a future meeting at which affected parties have adequate notice to engage with county staff on the substance, learn more, and weigh in. I thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you. We have Lucas Basalto, who will be followed by Tom Murphy.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to comment today. I'm sorry I can't be there in person to give these comments. My name is Luke Basulto. I was born and raised in the community of Barstow, California, a town where my family has lived and worked for generations and still lives to this day. I'm here today as a concerned son of that community, and this morning I'm commenting on regarding agenda item 30. In recent years, I found myself in the position of looking out for my hometown, mainly because of the love I have for it and my family, but also because not very many people do. I belong to one of the largest and most involved and recognizable families in Barstow. And when I asked my family and friends if they had heard about this new county proposed agreement with Cadiz that concerns and would affect their community, it was the first time they had heard about it. And they had asked me questions that I just simply did not have the answers to. That should speak volumes to the amount of information that still needs to be presented to communities like Barstow, Daggett, and Yermo before an issue as huge as this can move forward. People like me and my family and friends still have a lot of questions, and this feels as though it has blown right past us. I'm simply here to ask that you please give interested communities time, remove this item from the consent calendar, and give this issue until after the holidays before bringing it back. In the meantime, please hold a meeting or workshop with public notice so interested people who live in the community, in the county, can participate. I really hope you will grant us that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have Tom Murphy, who will be followed by Garth Pizant.
Tom Murphy from the Red Brennan Group. We support big-hearted communities and small government. Item 31 on the consent calendar authorizes nearly $1.5 million on a fool's errand. San Bernardino County voters in 2020 passed Major K, but is likely the largest vote on an initiative in the history of the county. This board sued to halt Major K's implementation before the election was even certified. Of course, the board won at the Superior Court level, then lost at the appeal court. Soldiering on, the board authorized an appeal to the California Supreme Court, which elected not to hear the case. Now, this board proposes appealing the Major K ruling to the United States Supreme Court. From SCOTUS's website, I quote, "In fact, the court accepts 100 to 150 out of 7,000 cases that is asked to review each year. Typically, the court hears cases that have been decided in either an appropriate U.S. Court of Appeals or the highest court in a given state. So, the probability SCOTUS will hear a case is slightly less than 2% if it comes to the court in a typical plat. Yet, this board proposes to sidestep the California Supreme Court and roll the dice and ask for review of the Measure K decision, which causes one to ask, what exactly is this board, why are they willing to burn nearly $500,000 of the taxpayers' money on a pipe dream? Anyone in this room with a basic understanding of the facts around Measure K will immediately understand this board is spending the taxpayers' money on lawfare, abusing the legal system in an effort to stymie reform from its own citizens. Everyone knows this is an investment designed to slow roll implementation of Measure K, while the board hopes for a favorable ruling on its deceptive Measure D. Certainly this is a crafty legal move, but it clearly demonstrates a bankruptcy when it comes to this board, its use of taxpayer funds, and the rule and the abuse of law as practiced in San Bernardino County.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Garth Pazant, who will be followed by Patty Holahan.
Before the County Honorable Board of Supervisors, a natural citizen of this city, county, state, and the face of this earth. Garth Pazant, Senior, item 18. LexisNexis, computer-assisted legal research and electronic library services, $688,000. Does the contract include assisting the public in navigating this LexisNexis legal research and electronic library? Item 39. First Institute Training and Management Incorporated for a vocational training program for adult offenders at $1,140,000. How does this provision support the intellectually stimulated and the intellectually challenged adult offenders? Item 47. May I find out from the Public Health Director what this Plan Act program consists of? I'm skipping item 67. I'm going to item 68. What are the qualifying requirements for this contract? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Patty Holahan.
Good morning. Madam Chair, Supervisor Hagman, Supervisor Baca, and Supervisor Armendariz. It is with great pleasure this morning that I am here to present the mobile medical clinic which the ARMC Foundation has been raising for 3 years. It has truly been an honor to work on this project. On behalf of the Board of Directors, Mr. Gilbert here present today, who sits on our board, and the staff members, our chair, Ann Kress, Dr. Lanham, Dr. Ganadev, with the executive committee, we'd like to give you this gift of the Mobile Med Clinic, which will serve many, many patients in the area. The last one, as you know, has turned a wheel and it's just barely going, but this one is going to bring us new. It's a trailer, and we also have a truck that will pull it. So when the Mobile Med Clinic, if it was down, we could go out and give care to our patients. But now that the truck is there, we can always just refurbish it with a new truck if we had to. So thank you for your support. Each and every one of you has been generous in helping us with this and attain this goal. I congratulate you, and I thank the ARMC Foundation and anyone who has been a part of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and congratulations. All right, that is the last request to speak that I have. Do we have any board members that wish to pull an item for discussion or make a comment?
Madam Chair, just a comment on two items. Just want to comment on items 61 and 82. 61 is a consent calendar item, but what this is this is an investment in a consultant to try to look at how we could potentially enhance services at our regional parks, particularly Glen Helen Regional Park, looking at potentially making it a revenue generator and improving the amenities for our residents here in San Bernardino County. I think it's a great opportunity as we look at what is our vision for San Bernardino County and really improving our regional parks. I think it's a great opportunity. And then item 82 is just a small investment that we're making at Kessler Park, which is one of our special districts parks in Bloomington. We're going to put $200,000 to add lights for safety for our basketball courts there. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of those items. But I know we got a lot of great things today, but thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I'll move to consent items, Madam Chair.
I do have a comment on item number 30. I just wanted to let anybody know, I know we had two speakers in the Joshua Tree area. The modification of the memorandum of understanding with the three parties that are involved in this actually secures water that will come and stay in the Mojave watershed area. So right now there's about 50,000 acre feet that have the ability to be pumped out. 10,000 of that is spoken for, the remaining 40 is not. So this would secure that additional 40 to have San Bernardino County water agencies have the first right of refusal on that water. And so that was the spirit of the modification of the MOU to ensure that we had clean drinking water here for our residents, first and foremost. So I just wanted to state that. I have a motion by Supervisor Hagman, a second by Supervisor Armendariz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and I'm going to oppose, I'm yes on everything except item number 31, I'm a nay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, the consent calendar passes with all supervisors present unanimous.
Thank you very much. We will now move on to our discussion calendar. First up, we have item number 90. It is a capital improvement project for a construction contract and service agreement with Alliance Building Solutions and Energy Efficiency Solutions project being presented today by Don Day. Good morning, Don. We'll open the public hearing on this.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Don Day. I'm the Director of the Project and Facilities Management Department. This item before you initiates a capital improvement project intended to address energy efficiency improvements at two county facilities: the County Government Center and a county-owned 4-story building at 268 West Hospitality Lane. This item also presents two contracts for consideration of award to Alliance Building Solutions, which will complete energy efficiency improvements and a guarantee of energy savings for a new solar-covered parking. The legislative tool which authorizes this procurement is California Government Code 4217. Government Code 4217 intends, among other things, to provide the greatest possible flexibility to public agencies in structuring agreements to maximize economic benefits. In accordance with the code, the board must find it is in the best interest of the county to enter into an energy services agreement for the installation of energy-related improvements whose cost to the county under the agreement will be less than the anticipated cost to the county of thermal, electrical, or other energy that would have been consumed by the county in the absence of the improvements. Project and Facilities Management has provided Alliance engineers copies of energy usage for each facility, along with hosting site walks to ensure Alliance has enough information to recommend replacing components which have the highest return on investment possible. The Energy Efficiency Agreement presented for your consideration is accompanied by another service agreement, which Alliance offers as a 20-year savings guarantee on the energy savings calculated for the solar-covered parking scope. The total agreement duration is approximately a year and a half to allow Alliance to complete design and engineering for certain long lead time items, such as the solar-covered parking, while completing short turnaround items, such as LED light conversions and boiler replacements. And staying on this slide, the agreement will cost approximately $7.8 million with a return on investment of approximately 13 years and a projected 30-year savings of $18.6 million. The first-year savings are calculated by the LED light fixture conversion at the Government Center, and the spike you see adjacent is associated with a California energy rebate, which will be available to us as part of this initiative. Thank you. This slide shows a summary of the scope of work which will be done at each facility, along with actual pictures of our old components, which will be replaced by new energy-efficient components. And on this slide, the building that you see at the bottom of the image is our 268 West Hospitality Lane location, and the north parking lot, which is proposed to receive a new set of solar-covered parking panels. These panels will provide renewable energy to the building during daylight hours and offer battery storage, which will offset energy usage in lower light hours of the day. And then moving on to the recommendations before you, we propose that, one, we find that the Energy Efficiency Solution Project is exempt under California Environmental Quality Act guidelines, Section 15301, Class 1, subsection E1, minor alteration of existing structure. 2, approve capital improvement program project number 24-100 in the amount of $9,092,408 for the Energy Efficiency Solutions Project. And 3, authorize the auditor, controller, treasurer, tax collector to post the necessary budget adjustments for the capital improvement program project to the 2023-24 budget. 4, approve plans and specifications for the Energy Efficiency Solutions Project located at 385 North Arrowhead and 268 West Hospitality Lane. Next slide. Yep, thank you. Number 5, find that it is in the best interest of the county to enter into an energy services agreement with Alliance Building Solutions Incorporated, and that the anticipated cost to the county from the services provided by Alliance Building Solutions will be less than the anticipated cost to the county of the energy that it would have been consumed by the county. 6, adopt resolution authorizing the Board of Supervisors to enter into an energy services agreement for the installation of energy-related improvements at 385 North Arrowhead and 268 West Hospitality. Item 7, award Energy Efficiency Solutions Agreement to Alliance Building Solutions in the amount of $7,880,230, which includes an allowance amount of $80,000 to be used in the event unforeseen supplemental structural roof framing members are required. And this contract will have an enforcement period of 545 calendar days from the date of issuance of the notice to proceed. Item 8, for recommendation 8, authorize the Director of the Project and Facilities Management Department to order any necessary changes or additions in the work being performed under the Energy Efficiency Solutions Agreement for a not-to-exceed amount of $210,000 pursuant to Public Contract Code Section 2142. Number 9, approves service agreement with Alliance Building Solutions, including non-standard terms for measurement and verification services and savings guarantee of the energy production associated with the scope of work in the Energy Efficiency Agreement for the not-to-exceed amount of $458,085 for the period of October 24th, 2023 through October 24th, 2043. Item 10, authorize the Director of the Project and Facilities Management Department to accept the work when 100% complete and execute and file the notice of completion. And finally, Item 11, direct the clerk of the Board of Supervisors to file and post the notice of exemption of the project as required by the California Environmental Quality Act. And this concludes our presentation of the item. We appreciate your time. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have. And members of Alliance Building Solutions are also with us. Should you have any technical questions, they may be able to assist with. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I do not have any members of the public wishing to speak on this item, so I'll bring it back to the board. Supervisor Hagman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, long overdue. I think we've been watching school districts and other public buildings get solar and LED lights for the last 10 years. So thank you for finally bringing us into the modern age of energy efficiency. Obviously, this is the start for our county complexes that we need to look at. Just a couple quick questions. I think the 8 through 11 kind of explains where the other 1.1 million goes in the allocated amount. That's for the service contract after the equipment's installed. And it's supposed to be saving us roughly double what we invested in energy conservation. As we look toward this particular building, the government center, I was going to ask Luther, I know at some point we were also looking at campus modifications down here in the local area. We're going to get our return on investment.
Yeah, we were looking at this site as part of this analysis and this contract. We picked a couple items, but due to some other potential planned construction here, we held off on doing solar or anything like that here. That is something
Parking
we're,
lot. So I know at one point we were studying doing a parking structure and additional buildings to this campus here. So that's still on the potential drawing board. That's why we went to do solar here.
yes, and we are still looking at it. It's something that we'd like to do here.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you. I'm looking forward to not getting rid of some of these lights. The yellow lights in our offices have been that way for a long time. I've been here for 9 years and we haven't got them changed out yet. So I'm looking forward to the change. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
Thank you. I have a motion by Supervisor Hagman and a second by Supervisor Baca. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, the motion passes, all supervisors present voting aye.
Thank you very much. Next, we have item number 91, which is an ordinance amending Title 8 of the County Code relating to environmental justice focus area, and this item is being taken off calendar. But I will need a motion.
Move it to, I think we're moving to, when we're moving to.
It is just being taken
Taken
off
off.
calendar.
All right, I have a motion from Supervisor Hagman and a second from Supervisor Baca. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. All right.
The motion passes, all in favor. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 92 is an initiative petition to repeal the special tax for the San Bernardino County Fire Protection District Service Zone FP5 being presented by Chief Muncy. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning. The items can be presented by Stephanie Shea from the RV.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Stephanie Shea, Registrar of Voters. Chief and I here will be presenting the initiative petition. Thank you. Chief and I will be presenting the initiative petition to repeal the special tax for San Bernardino County Fire Protection District Service Zone FP5. Next slide, please. This is the background of this initiative petition. In May of 2023, the proponents began circulating an initiative petition seeking to repeal the special tax for San Bernardino County Fire Protection District Service Zone FP5. On May 9th of this year, the proponents submitted the proof of publication of notice of intention to circulate. And on August 29th, 2023, the proponents submitted an initiative petition to the Registrar of Voters containing 11,255 signatures. On October 10th, 2023, the Registrar of Voters certified the sufficiency of the initiative petition after checking a random sample of 500 voter signatures. The initiative petition required 6,727 valid signatures to be found sufficient pursuant to Proposition 218, Article 13C, Section 3 of the California Constitution. Pursuant to the authority provided in Elections Code Section 9309, the Registrar of Voters examined a random sample of 500 signatures, as we spoke about before, on this initiative petition and determined that 375 of these signatures were from registered voters residing within the district. The Registrar of Voters followed the requirements under the California Code of Regulations, Section 20510 through 20540, under the election petition signature verification random sampling verification methodology, and projected that the measure contained 8,441 verified valid signatures, which is more than the 110% required number. As a result, the examination of all the signatures was not required by state law. The initiative title here is the initiative to repeal the special tax for San Bernardino County Fire Protection District Service Zone FP5. The initiative proposal language is the special tax for Service Zone FP5, originally authorized by voters in 2006 in the amount of $117 per parcel per year with an annual 3% cost of living increase, and most recently set by the Board of Directors with resolution number 2022-171 at $166.84 per parcel for fiscal year 2022 to 2023 is hereby repealed. The recommendations presented to the board today for consideration are number one, finding that the proposed actions are exempt from review pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act. Number two is administrative in nature. After finding the sufficiency of the signatures, the Registrar of Voters executed the certificate of initiative petition. And with that, under the recommendation number two, we asked the board to accept the certificate of initiative petition dated October 10th, 2023, with respect to the petition. Under recommendations number 3 and 4, pursuant to Elections Code 9310A, the board then has the option to pursue various courses under these recommendations. The first of which is to consider a proposed ordinance relating to the adoption of this initiative for the initiative to repeal the special tax for San Bernardino County Fire Protection District Service Zone FP5 without alteration, and approve the introduction of the ordinance, the proposed ordinance, and schedule the ordinance for final adoption on November 14th, 2023 on the consent calendar. This would be an ordinance of the San Bernardino County Fire Protection District to adopt the initiative petition that repeals the special tax. Under 3B, the option for the board is to submit the initiative without alteration and present it to the voters through an election. And under Elections Code Section 1405, there are a few election options in terms of date and type of elections that are presented to the board for consideration. Under recommendation, next slide, please. Under recommendation 4A, the board may choose to consolidate and present this initiative to the voters at the next regularly scheduled election for the district, which would be the March 5th, 2024 primary. If the board so chooses, they could instead adopt a resolution calling for a special election. Recommendations B through E note special elections on 2 dates. They are January 23rd or January 30th. Per election code, the special election, if it were to be called by the board, would have to take place not less than 88 days from today and not more than 103 days from today's date. And that narrows it down to 2 Tuesdays, which are January 23rd or January 30th. And should the board choose, they have the option to opt for a special election on either of those dates. The special election could include the polling place. So we'll see recommendation 4B speak to a January 23rd special election. We see recommendation number 4C speak to a special election on January 30th. And then recommendations for D and E speak to special elections on January 23rd and January 30th regarding an all-mail ballot election, which would exclude polling places. And should the board choose to approve recommendation 3B, which opts for an election, we then present for consideration to the board to direct the Registrar of Voters to either not print or print the full text of the measure on the ballot materials. And so that concludes our presentation, and we ask the board if there are any questions that you have for us.
Supervisor Hagman.
Thank you. Can you go back to, I think, a slide 2 or 3 of the timeline? Okay, yeah, just curious on this. Received on August 29th, and it took us to base October 10th to look at 500.
This
So that's
timeline,
about 6 weeks to look at 500 signatures. I'm just wondering what else we had going on that it took us that long to do that.
well, this timeline is mandated by code. We
Okay.
do perform the signature verifications. Our staff is working diligent on a few other things as well, but we have performed this examination of the signatures within the required timeline. And through that, we have conducted a random sample of the 500 signatures.
Yeah, I understand we did that. Just then I don't think we got much of a staff report until recently on as far as to the board. So I think we need to work on speeding up the process a little bit if this ever happens again.
Okay.
Yeah, we could have gotten you a little bit more information earlier, given the complexities of the options and the recommendations, certainly.
Please.
Understanding we have lots of options here, and I only got this Friday myself. What are the costs associated with every decision that we have an opportunity to make here, as
Okay.
far as, actual costs, including printing, full or short?
Should the board choose to consolidate with the March primary, and that is under recommendation 4A, the estimated cost for the district would be 1.5 million. And that is because various jurisdictions participate in this election, and so there is a cost share involved there. Under recommendation 4B, 4B and 4C, either of those special elections that are polling place based, the estimated cost for those elections, either or, would be 2.8 million. And that is because it is not anticipated that there's any other measure except for the district's measure on that ballot. And those would be polling place elections. So those costs increase due to the polling places, securing the places, the labor involved, the equipment that we have to move out to those areas. And should the board elect to adopt a resolution calling either of the special all-mail ballot elections, the estimated cost for that would be 1.5 million. So to consolidate would be 1.3 million, a special election with polling places 2.8 million, and then a special election all-mail ballot only would be estimated to be 1.5 million. And then the cost to print or not print the full text, it is anticipated that by not printing the full text, there would be a savings of approximately $216,000.
Tom, I have a question for you. I have had outreach from a number of rural desert folks that are confused by coming back, voting on it, coming back, voting on it. They are under the impression that once they voted on it and they thought they voted it in, that then this would not be able to be brought forward again. We could deny the petition. Can you please explain for anybody here how this works when there's a petition that's driven by a citizen's initiative, that we as the Board of Supervisors can't just decline that?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Well, there's no prohibition on repeated initiatives or petitions that raise the same issue that was voted on in a prior election. So there's no legal prohibition of bringing it forward for consideration by the voters again at a future election, even though it was voted down at a prior election or voted in favor in a prior election. And the only options the board has today is to either adopt the ordinance, so therefore adopt the repeal, or to put it on the ballot for consideration by the voters, either as part of the primary election or in a special election, as the Registrar of Voters has indicated.
I appreciate the clarity. Thank you.
If we were to adopt this and do a resolution, how long would that process take, and when will it start?
Well, if you were to adopt the ordinance, you would be adopting it today, and then it would come back for a second reading in November and become effective thereafter.
And then if we go through this process, it won't take effect until after the election.
Well, if you go through the process, then whether it takes effect will depend on what the voters do in the election. So it may or may not take effect depending on what the vote is by the voters.
Is any public comment? or
I,
you
I
wanna
have one request to speak by Tom Murphy.
So I note the addition of the little digital 3-minute timer. That's helpful. For item number 92, no local government may impose, extend, or increase any special tax unless that tax is submitted to the electorate and approved by a 2/3 vote. In 2018, this board chose to ignore this clause in our state constitution and impose the FP5 special tax on property owners across the county. In June of 2022, district voters chose to repeal this tax via Measure Z. So why is this tax still on the rolls? Because this board, despite clear direction from the voters, can't seem to find its way on the FP5 special tax. But we're here to solve your problems for you today. There is another option that isn't on the, because it's not in the code, so it's not in your options, but you could simply cease and desist your legal lawsuits against Measure Z. If you were to do this, and if you were to do this before E88, before the election, I'm sure that the proponents would rescind the initiative that's before you. So that's an option. It won't cost you anything, and everybody will be happy, except for the public employee unions obviously will not be excited about it. So that's option one. Option two is simply approve item 3A from your agenda, and you'll save your constituents $46.5 million, and you'll avoid the cost of an election. And you'll be on the right side of the voters. Thanks.
Thank you. That is the last request to speak that I have at this time. Chief, did you have any follow-up comments or thoughts?
I would just like to point out in the agenda item report, there's one paragraph in there that I'd like to read. I understand that the board has to make a decision. This needs to be sent to the voters. It represents $46.5 million, which is roughly 19% of our operating budget. This would result in less fire protection emergency services to the public. We are a California special district. As such, we are not a department of the county. We are not guaranteed any general fund support. And as the voters vote for this, I would really like this sentence to be on their minds, is that sometimes you can only cut so far before you have to close fire stations. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a couple of decision points to make here, and Tom, I'm going to look to you for assistance on this. So recommendations number 1 and 2 are what we would be taking first. Is that correct?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Would you like to outline for the board, just for clarity on this?
Really, what you're doing on items 1 and 2 are finding that the review is exempt under CEQA, so the board's decision is exempt under CEQA. That's recommendation number 1. And you are accepting the certification of the initiative petition, and that is item number 2.
Okay, so let's stop right there. Let's take a motion on that with the full board.
So move. Second.
I have a motion by Supervisor Baca, a second by Supervisor Hagman. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, so
That motion for recommendations 1 and 2 passes. All in favor that are present.
thank you. So moving on to recommendation number 3. This is where, Tom, we will decide if it passes by ordinance or we submit the initiative to the voters.
Yes, Madam Chair. In item 3, you're either going to do a recommendation or motion for 3A, which would be to adopt the ordinance and therefore to adopt the repeal of the FP5 tax, or you're going to submit the initiative petition to the voters for a decision. And so that's item 3B.
All right, do I have a motion from a supervisor on
3B, Madam Chair.
Supervisor Hagman motions 3B as an option?
Second.
Supervisor Baca seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
That the motion to approve recommendation 3B passes. All in favor?
All right, and so then that brings us to a recommendation then for A, B, C, D, or E.
A's the primary election presidential. I'll move to that.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I didn't vote, but I'm in favor.
With that, recommendation 4A passes. All in favor?
Thank you. Now I have a recommendation for 5A or B, and this is the printing of the full initiative versus not printing of the initiative, the full initiative. Is it just a ballot summary and title?
So under the government code, you're not required, or under California law, you're not required to print the full initiative in the ballot materials. There is a cost of doing so, up $200 and some thousand. I remember that the registrar of voters indicated. So if you choose not to do that, then a voter could request that information be provided to them, and it would be provided to them as required by law.
What is historically done?
I think it's been done both ways, honestly, by the board in different circumstances.
Supervisor Armendariz?
So a lot like when a candidate runs for office, he has the option to pay for that, to have a summary put in. Is that something could be an option? To ask the proponent if he wants the full version put in, he can pay that difference of the $216,000 to have that done. If we vote not to have it.
I haven't looked at the issue whether they have a right to include it if they would pay for it, but we could certainly explore that.
That's all. I just think at the taxpayer, we should minimize the cost, but also give the opportunity to the proponent, if he wishes to have the whole thing, allow them to pay that difference if they choose to. It's my personal opinion.
So would the motion then from Supervisor Armendariz be 5A, but allowing for the provision that if the petition submitter requested to pay for it, that they could pay for it?
That would be my understanding, would be the motion, yes.
That's my motion.
I have a motion.
Views on it. Can you put the language up there and just tell me what the difference of the two things are?
Pay for the initiative to be printed in the ballot or not pay?
No, but I mean, the ballot title will still be there regardless.
Yeah, the ballot title would still be there. Essentially, the full initiative would be the proposed ordinance, would be the addition that would be included if you put the full
Here.
text.
The bottom one.
So
Very last line.
also in the past, it is on a case-by-case basis, but had the decision made to include the full text, at times the full text also includes the background, the purpose, what the proponents plan to accomplish, tax rate information, and so forth.
I had a question. If we do the full text, does it allow opposition to print out? And if we don't do the full text, can opposition come out in opposition, an opposition statement?
I will have to look into that. Once a decision is made, that actually goes into the printing of the VIG. And with the election timelines, we actually work that in to what's being printed. So I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, because I think that's important that, we have the opponent that may oppose this initiative an opportunity to put something in the ballot. That way you hear both sides of the argument. That way it doesn't become skewed and one-sided.
That's the pros and cons that we talk about when you see in the booklet on
Yeah. Well, this would not affect the arguments for and arguments against. So a decision here would not prohibit those normal arguments that appear in the ballot materials.
All right, so to repeat the motion, I have a motion from Supervisor Armendariz and a second from Supervisor Hagman to not print the full initiative on the ballot unless the petitioner is seeking to pay for that cost. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
With that, the motion is approved as amended with all in favor present. Thank you.
Madam Chair, can I make a comment?
Please.
Yeah, just, I know that this item is coming before us, and it's not for the board to make a decision whether we agree or disagree on the item. I think the most important thing to put out is the signatures were verified, and we have a process that we have to go through. For me personally, I have concerns, with this item. Just for me personally, I represent, Rialto, Colton, San Bernardino, Muscoy, and Bloomington. The city of Rialto and Colton have their own fire. I know that city of San Bernardino, Muscoy, and Bloomington do rely on FP5, and it could be a big concern. So I just wanted to make that a point that we're not agreeing on this item. We're just putting the item on the ballot for a vote of the people, and the people are going to ultimately decide. But it could potentially impact our communities, and especially the city of San Bernardino, which has the highest amount of calls per service in the country. So just something that, just voicing my opinion.
All right, thank you very much for the presentation and all the information. We appreciate it today.
Thank you. Madam Chair, if I could, I'm not certain if we closed the hearing.
I did not, so I will officially close the public hearing.
Thank you.
With that, we will move on to public comments for matters that are not on our agenda. Our first request to speak is Nancy Richardson, who will be followed by Deborah Knowlton.
So I'm here today representing New California State, and I haven't heard anything back since the last few times I've spoken about getting rid of machines at our elections. And so I gave you each a copy of my correspondence to Judicial Watch. And it's kind of important because I filed it the same day that we went down to the Registrar of Voters to place our votes in the 2022 election. This is dated 11/8. I notified them on 11/8, and they got back to me saying that they received my complaint. This is what I wrote. It is my understanding that machines are not to be connected to the internet at polling sites. My husband and I arrived at the San Bernardino County Registrar of Voters and looked for available Wi-Fi in the parking lot, as we were instructed to do. Only one showed up. Inside, after we voted, I used the restroom across the hall from the voting room and looked again. At approximately 8:30, a lot of available Wi-Fi popped up. Maybe there was a reason for these Wi-Fi to be on, but I thought one in particular seemed strange, and it's the one circled that says ROV 2019. Might be nothing, but might be something. We also have heard rumors, not a firsthand account, that the Secretary of State rebooted all machines at 3:00 p.m. What on earth? Why? Please look into this. We need major help here in California. Please help us. We are under a dictatorship. I want to remind everybody that the Dominion machine contract, that has an option next year to cancel it. We need to do that. We need to have confidence in our voting system. Nobody has confidence anymore in our voting system. So if we're going to have confidence in our voting system, that means if you're not wanting to do any of these things, that means you want to cheat, simply. Because what we're asking for is that voter ID, one-day voting at your precinct, paper ballots, no tally machines, major supervision that is under supervised tallying by hand, election day, only. And if you have to be out of town or whatever your reason is and you have to require absentee ballot, so be it. I believe 3 counties have told their
That's
populace.
time.
What?
Deborah Knowlton, who will be followed by Garth Pizan.
The last time I spoke with you a few meetings ago, I mentioned the doctrine of lesser magistrates. This doctrine was used by the Founding Fathers as one of the bases for the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. The doctrine states that when a magistrate, a government entity that is lower in authority, opposes or resists the unjust or illegal orders or laws of a higher authority, they are justified in doing so to protect themselves and the citizens from government tyranny. In this case, the illegal edict is the State's Assembly Bill 969, which usurps the county's control of the local election process by the state requiring the use of potentially compromised Dominion machines and banning hand counting. Several counties have recently readopted hand counting, which is the traditional method for tabulating votes for an election, after an election. They did this in response to corrupted elections. This law not only takes away the County Board of Supervisors' power, but also indirectly the people's power who elected those supervisors to represent them. Several of us have presented specific data from San Bernardino County's elections showing the questionable results of the last several elections with no challenge or response from any supervisor. In addition, several sheriff's departments, such as San Joaquin and Riverside counties, have investigated and witnessed election corruption in their counties with the machines. Shasta and Riverside counties, upon hearing the evidence presented to them, voted to eliminate the Dominion machines. What did San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors do? They chose to continue their contract with Dominion machines and with a mobile ballot making company. Anyone foresee any problems with mobile ballot making? The justification that the state made us do it because of AB 969 has been invalidated not only by the doctrine of lesser magistrates, but also at the Nuremberg trials when soldiers tried to justify their illegal behaviors with the argument that their commanding officers ordered them to do it. Well, the state is ordering the County Board of Supervisors to use untrustworthy, corruptible machines that can potentially invalidate the will of the people in elections, and our supervisors are complying. I hope the Board of Supervisors will protect the citizens' votes by reconsidering their decision to continue the use of Dominion machines and will reinstitute hand counting at the polling locations for more efficient, trustworthy, and less expensive results. Thank you.
Thank you. Garth Pizant, who will be followed by Sydney Weatherford.
My name is Sid Weatherford. I live at 336 Cedarbrook Drive in Twin Peaks. I am here to update the board on the whereabouts and the goings-on of the special district. They had in, May, voted down the raise. We were currently being charged $100 a year for road maintenance and snow removal. And we had met with the special district in August, and they had put together a very nice presentation of our district, rating our district, and taking pictures of the road and rating our road and a Q&A and everything that one would think would be appropriate. The bottom line is that from that, they have two parts. They would like the O&M, operation and maintenance, to go from $100 to the $269, which most of us understand, and we have no problem with that. The second part of it is the road replacement. They want to go from the $816 to currently totaling $934 each resident for a year, and there's 180 residents. The problem with that, of course, is the cost. So what we have asked for is that they separate the two, and for a couple of years, let's do an O&M and charge us the $269 from the $100 a year, and that's manageable. And maybe a couple of years down to separate and go to the road repair, which is going to be a 665 addition, which brings it up to the 935. That is also something reasonable that we would be willing to look at a couple of years down the road to where we can get the roads back into service. Right now, we're currently paying the $100 for annual road repair potholes, which have not been done for the last 3 or 4 years, and all they've accomplished was the snow removal. But again, you know, last year with 10 feet of snow, we appreciated that much. So I just wanted to update you, let you know we are still waiting to hear from the special district. They have basically agreed that this is probably a good idea. We have not heard anything in writing. They've met with them several times, and they agree that it's worth looking into and to separate the two items completely so that we can afford to do it a little at a time and not overwhelm us with the large amount. I thank you again for your decision last time, and I hope that they also will keep you
That's
informed
time.
as well.
Thank you for the update. Next, we have Garth Pizant, who will be followed by Joyce Airway.
Thank you. I possess in my hand the release and hold harmless agreement for the County of San Bernardino acknowledgement of limited insurance coverage paid by the taxpaying to the county employee. It says, I, John Doe taxpayer, fully understand that the County of San Bernardino is a self-insured public entity pursuant to Government Code Section 990.4. The county's program of self-insurance does not provide medical payments in the event that I am injured while a passenger in a county-owned vehicle. Notwithstanding the above acknowledgement, my participation in the so-called event, including transportation to and from said event, exposes me to the risk of personal injury, death, or property damage. I hereby acknowledge that I am voluntarily participating in this event and expressly agree to assume any such risk. In consideration for being permitted to participate in the program, I hereby release and forever discharge the County of San Bernardino, its officers, employees, agents, and volunteers for any injury, death, or damage to or loss of personal property arising out of or in connection with my own child's participation in the event from whatever cause, including the active or passive negligence of the County of San Bernardino, its officer, employees, agents, and volunteers, or any other participants in the event. In further consideration for being allowed to participate in the event, I hereby agree for myself, my heirs, administrators, executors, and assigns that I will indemnify and hold harmless the County of San Bernardino, its officer, employees, agents, and volunteers from any and all claims, including claims for workers' compensation benefits, damages, demands, actions, or suits arising out of or in connection with my participation in the program by any third party. I have carefully read this release and hold harmless agreement and fully understand its contents. I am aware that it is a full release of all liability and signing of my own free will. Now, if John Doe taxpayer does not sign this release, he forfeits participation to be transported in a county vehicle.
Thank you. Nancy Caraway, who will be followed by Sid Bradley.
Good morning, and thank you to the board for hearing me. I believe the board received my emails regarding a very narrow street in our neighborhood, which impacts 5 houses, and it's too narrow for people to park on it and for vehicles to pass. And I'm asking that it be striped. I'm informed by Public Works that the board has to make that decision. I'm asking, they were supposed to put it on the agenda for today and failed to do so. So I'm asking what it will take to get it striped so that people don't park there. Recently, my husband and I came around the corner, which is a blind corner, and he narrowly missed hitting somebody. If he had driven the way other people drive in our neighborhood, he would have hit this person who was out in the middle of the street. So my question is, what do I need to provide for the board to make that decision in our favor? The other one is regarding camping on the street. As you know, in San Bernardino City and other cities, camping is not allowed on the street. If one wants to park in a designated park and recreation area, they have to park in certain areas. And we only can camp on our own land with a permit and only for a certain time of a period of time. But yet people are allowed to camp on residential streets and they're not hampered. The sheriff will not arrest them or will not make them move. So I'm asking why that is the case when it's, camping is limited in other areas. Does the board have any anything that you would like me to bring at another hearing regarding the striping on our street, or how can we get this done?
So our public comment is for one way for you to receive us. I know that there are folks in the back of the chambers that will speak with you once you're done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next we have Sid Bradley, who will be followed by Margaret Cushion.
Thank you. I'm S.D. Bradley. Good morning, Madam Chairman and the board. At the onset, Madam Chairman spoke about discrimination, and I'm here because of the property that is owned by the county at 1232 Crafton in Mentone. I spoke with Supervisor Hagman's office, and I spoke to Chairman Rao's office about the situation. What we're asking the board to do, because you own the property, can we get federal involved in protecting our civil rights there on the property? We've gotten in touch with the county and the county officers. They are, and your attorney Kimball and St. John, saying that they are sure that none of your people or people from the housing department is doing the things that are being aimed at us. So can we please work together and get some federal investigators in here to alleviate the problem we're having out there? We've been dealing with some of these problems for more than since 2021. I've been under treatment, so I haven't been able to go to the board. I had a successful transplant, but right now it is imperative that we don't still go through the same situation because it's affecting our lives and our livelihood as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Margaret Cushion is the last request to speak that I have.
Good morning, good afternoon. I'm here to pitch improving the welfare of animals in San Bernardino County. Number one, spay and neuter. It sounds like some plans are in the works. It seems item 45 in the agenda states one-time purchase of a mobile veterinary clinic. It can't be stressed enough how badly this is needed. Hopefully this has been or will be approved. If the county subsidized free spay and neuter programs, at the very least, extremely low-cost spay and neuter. This would lessen the burden on shelters, on the county's budget, and improve the quality of life among residents. Overpopulation of animals is a quality of life issue. Number 2, improving the systems and processes within the county surrounding animal welfare. As an example, DeVore Animal Shelter seems severely underfunded and overwhelmed. The Bloomington shelter will not finish construction until 2026, another 3 years away. In the interim, would it be unreasonable to suggest purchasing additional mobile structures or auxiliary structures to handle overflow and space issues at DeVore? For cats, there are currently not enough kennels to hold the amount of volume that goes through DeVore, which means after a 96-hour stray hold, the animal can legally be euthanized. With over 2 million residents in the county, there are not enough kennels in proportion to the population of the county. When DeVore Animal Shelter started out, it served a much smaller population. In a press release video on October 16th, Congressman Pete Aguilar visited the DeVore Animal Shelter, and with Director Josh Dugas, they discussed that between 2020 and 2022, the number of animals accepted into DeVore increased by 50%. 50%. The shelter has not been expanded to absorb this. Adding additional structures means one can quarantine new animals to try and stop or slow the spread of diseases between the cats. This is an ongoing issue at the shelter. The cost for medicine and treatment are high. Auxiliary structures will save the county money in the long run. Number 3, the leash law. San Bernardino County Law Code 32.0108, Control of Animals, which I brought a copy with me, requires all animals to be restrained whenever they are on public property or unenclosed private property. Would it be totally crazy to suggest on line 2 to change the sentence from requires all animals to requires all dogs? Simple word change. By doing this, you exempt cats from the leash law. Cats rarely wear leashes, and many pet owners allow them to be outdoors. It seems this will help ease the volume of intakes by lowering the amount of potential pet cats that are brought in. Lastly, Governor Gavin Newsom is trying to move the state to be no-kill. Several counties in the state already have become no-kill, including LA County and Ventura County. This is always for your time and hard work.
Thank you very much. That is the last request to speak that I have, so our meeting stands adjourned. Our next board meeting will be here in Chambers November 14th at 10 a.m. Thank you very much.